there were some questions or concerns that we've been hearing from our customer base regarding all kinds of, let's call it, a new strategy by Microsoft to push organizations over and above the Microsoft E5 offering. So as everybody knows, Microsoft E5 is really the go-to package, so to say, all-inclusive. Everything that a large enterprise organization needs is there. And it's also, of course, priced at it's a premium price. Microsoft slowly but surely has been, I would say, pushing organizations from E1, E3, all the way to E5. And it's always been sold as all-inclusive, do whatever you need, everything that you need or require is there. Now, what we're seeing, and that's the subject of today's main discussion, that is, there are quite a few add-ons to E5. Some of them were like nice to have, really geeky stuff. But today there are some, I would almost call it components that are becoming essential, that are increasing and driving higher costs for organizations. And Alex, I know that you've done a bit of research on this and you've looked into the subject. So I would love for you to share with our audience your thoughts and what you're seeing, and maybe open this up for a discussion.
Yeah, these thoughts have been shared by multiple people in and around Microsoft licensing and Microsoft implementation recently. Is this whole conversation about Microsoft introducing premium services on top of E5, and E5 stopping to be the all-inclusive, get everything through just one simple SKU model. And the March update from Microsoft is another reminder that it's actually going on. So what happened is, well, there are various little updates here and there. 3 more Azure services added, but Azure is consumption model, so it's not about licensing. Intune is a license, and it's a very popular one. Intune is one of the most popular components of the Microsoft 365 suites. And what we have now is Microsoft introduced Intune Plan 2, or P2, and Intune Suite. And as you can see, Suite is just a bit more than Intune P2. Both of them are additional licenses that should be put on top of your existing subscriptions. So you may notice even E5 is a prerequisite, so it's not included in E5. And it's not only this. So as Daryl just said, it's a trend. It's a trend. And one of the things that happened quite recently is Microsoft also introduced Teams Premium. And the announcement, I think the announcement went out in about October, and they warned about it. And I am unsure about what was the exact availability date, but I think it was just now, just maybe a week ago, maybe starting in March, maybe just a bit earlier. What happened is that they introduced this premium, Teams Premium, and brought in some new features. Instead of including them in the base package of Teams, and Teams is a part of every Microsoft 365 package, in addition to Teams Free, this is a paid license. This is a paid add-on. This is a premium service. And with Teams, they went even one step further, although they did warn that they're going to do this, but they removed some of the features from the basic Teams package to the premium. And we have clients, international clients, that are suffering as a result of this change. So yeah, and well, live translated captions. This is number 1 on the list, and this is what multinational companies have started using already, still being on the premium, on the basic Teams package, and it went to the premium. So yeah, that's a bit of a bitter pill, but the main idea is with the introduction of Intune P2 and Suite, Microsoft added another core product, popular product, to the list of premium services, premium add-ons, which are not again included in E5. So we are getting out of this whole E5 all-inclusive bubble. It's strategically it's not new. So these things are not new. There's a list of about 20 to 30 premium services that existed even from the beginning of E5. The thing about those premium services is that they are required by a tiny number of clients, 1 to 5%. If you need to store your data for 10 years, if you need to have additional security and forensic evidence of something, those add-ons are not required by everyone. Government entities may need them. Companies that are very concerned about IT security may need them, but it's not a mass product. Teams and Intune are essentially mass products. And therefore, this raises a question. Daryl, remember you were talking about it. We had a video on this channel where I almost jokingly said, I think it was more than a year ago, that we were expecting Microsoft E7 in 2022. It didn't happen. But won't clients start asking this question again, like, you pitched us E5 as an all-inclusive package. The reason we bought it because it was an all-inclusive package. We didn't really need it, but we kind of bought into this idea of having one license and not managing all the other add-ons. Everything is one package, discounted. Now we kind of we started paying on top of that. Will there be a new E7? What's your opinion on that?
So when I said that about a year ago, that we said it, when we had the conversation, that look forward to a new E7 SKU, we actually got some feedback from the market, from Microsoft, saying, guys, what are you talking about? It's not going to happen. Nobody's even brought this up. And the fact is that Microsoft took a different option. Instead of being straight out adding a new SKU of E7, they were more sophisticated, and they basically started to add in what I call additional capabilities that are becoming a must, and removing capabilities that were part of the, for example, Teams that organizations started to use and they were getting comfortable with, and they're making them a separate offer. You can call it E7, you can call it E5++. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's the same concept. It's the same concept from a commercial perspective that we've seen for years, and it's not surprising. I'm not surprised. I've got nothing against Microsoft. I'm just saying that organizations need to be smart about the commercial discussions with Microsoft and understand that what is not what is going to be. And you need to be very, very cautious. One, when you start trying out a new product, for example, I'll give Teams with the captations, with the automatic translation. Next time, before you start a new product, maybe have a commercial discussion with Microsoft and ask to get it in writing that this is going to continue to be part of your E5 SKU when you renew, or your Teams package, that it's not going to be separated and you're going to have to add on a new cost. Another good example, not out of E5, but for example, Active Directory kiosk SKU, P1, that was used by a very large number of usually manufacturing companies for, let's call it blue-collar workers that only just needed that added layer of single sign-on capabilities, that they bought into that concept at a very low priced license, and that license has been discontinued. And now, if you've already embedded it and you've put in the cost of the infrastructure and the rollout, it's very difficult to replace it. And Microsoft has removed the SKU, and the only alternative they're offering is an F1 license that's double the price. So you can You can scrutinize Microsoft's practices or licensing practices, and rightfully so. I don't think it's good practice. You put a SKU in, you want to change the SKU, fine. But don't request 100% more on the cost. Be fair with your customers. And that's not the case. And I think that's bad practice from any organization. So if that's the kind of practice that we're going to, that we are seeing now, and it's going to progress because Microsoft needs additional revenue. And the way to increase your revenue streams is to, on one hand, maybe increase to add in a different additional value. That's fine, but don't take out capabilities or capabilities that should be an upgrade and make that into a new product. And I think that's the trend we're seeing today. And you just need to be cautious and have the right commercial discussions with Microsoft.
Yeah. So in regards to updates, and by the way, we have more people joining. We have more people online, and everybody. Hello. Unfortunately, we can't display your comments today. Something is happening with Restream, the service that we use to stream these things to YouTube and other platforms. So yes, please say hello. Hello, Carla, and thank you for confirming that our video is fine and the audio is fine. Please ask your questions. This is a Q&A session. What I wanted to, in addition to that Intune update, really, if you look at let me share this. If you look at what Microsoft's updates, I think it's pixelated, isn't it? So I'll switch it off. It's pixelated. Yeah, I switch it off. There's nothing more that is very significant. So the other update is that Microsoft added another 2 add-ons to the Microsoft 365, again, premium add-ons. Those add-ons are called, if somebody is interested, Forensic Evidence for Insider Risk Management and Microsoft Defender Vulnerability Management add-ons. So these are the two new add-ons that Microsoft brought into the product terms document this month. There's a rename of a product in Dynamics 365, and there are some additional privacy and security terms for additional Azure services. That's it. Seems to be quiet, but as we just said, please do not overlook this trend, especially if you're on procurement, you're planning strategically how you buy your licenses. Do not overlook this trend, because we are also part of some closed groups where professionals gather and talk to each other about the trends. This is being brought up more and more often by those who manage Microsoft, that Microsoft is moving into this premium add-on model. It's not only us. Other companies are also raising concerns right now. Not concern, maybe not. Sometimes it's not a concern. It's more of a know about it, plan for it, act upon it. That is the main idea. So, Daryl, we don't have that many questions from the audience this week. So I don't know if you have any. I only have one, which I'll say now, but it's more related to using Windows 11 in the provider's estate. If you want to outsource something to a service provider, we get a surprisingly large number of questions just about that product from providers and from the end users. So one of the questions is, can we now, in 2023, deploy our Windows VDIs, Windows clients, on a provider's platform? Yes, you can, and you can do this on almost every provider, with the exception of, with caveats, Azure, Alibaba, Google, and Amazon. So those 4 are excluded. Azure has its own offerings like Windows 365. Please watch our channel's announcements. We're going to announce a Microsoft 365 licensing training for roughly in 4 weeks from now, where we'll cover Microsoft 365 and hopefully Azure virtual desktops and Microsoft Windows 365 services in that live. Otherwise, any other provider, including Rackspace, including OVH, including IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud, you may, if they agree, you may deploy your Windows 11 VDIs in the provider's estate. The other question that we have related to that is people are asking how do we count the licenses? So because they are effectively your on-premises licenses, you're not getting the service from a provider. Providers still may not provide services using their own Windows 11 licenses. And clients must bring them to the providers. In that case, it's licensed exactly as your on-premises VDIs. It's licensed per user. You have your E3, E5 subscriptions. If you already have them, all the provider needs to do is allow you to deploy those virtual machines. There are no additional licensing requirements if you already have licenses. If you don't have licenses, you just buy them as regular, normal on-premises licenses. There's no difference. The problem here is for the providers. So there are some providers that are struggling, really banging their head against the wall, trying to understand how can they offer services based on Windows 11. My answer, if you can avoid that, please avoid that. Because providers cannot just rent out Windows 11 virtual machines. They need to make sure that the client has licenses. It's not like SPLA. If you rent a Windows 11 virtual machine from a provider, you rent it with a license included. You may even rent SQL Server with a license included, but not Windows 11. So you as a client, you must have the licenses. So therefore, there may not be anything like a Windows 11 machine charged per minute on providers. I'm not saying Azure still has an unfair advantage, and I'm sorry, Microsoft, but that's an unfair advantage because nobody else has it. You kept it to yourselves. So, but as a provider, again, if you want to run such workloads, Azure is your only option. Again, no per minute charges. Even through Azure, there must be monthly subscriptions sold to your clients, even if they use it per minute. Unfortunately, this is the deal. This is the arrangement. So, yeah, as I said, quite surprisingly, quite many questions are evolving around these licenses. If anyone else has a question, please shoot.
Alex, I just want to add on one last note before we wrap up, and that is everybody to just keep in mind, 1st of April, there are quite a few price lists globally that are going up by 11% on average. So please check out how you're going to be affected. Microsoft has increased the Euro price list, the UK price list, and a couple of others by 11% on average due to what they call fluctuations in currencies. So you can argue if it's 11%, it's less. The practice, that's the fact. And that's coming on top of the average of 15% increase we saw last year on the various components of 365. So overall, you can expect on your next EA renewal or CSP renewal an average of 20 to 25% cost increase on your current spend, but that's without receiving any additional new value. So if you have to start preparing budgets or if you're starting a negotiation, please take that into consideration. It's a huge, huge increase in spend.
Daryl, by the way, do you, because we don't have a live at the same time next week. And I'm thinking, because of all these price increases and more people coming to us asking questions like, how do we deal with them? So for us, it's simple. I mean, it's the usual case. Microsoft always increases prices. You either adapt or you swallow it. You either do something to reduce at least your short-term costs, or you just don't. But I think there may be some interesting ideas about how we manage this. So do you think we should go live on this particular subject about Microsoft price increases next week, the same time?
I think it's a good idea. We can have a discussion about it.
Because we have a free slot. Otherwise, on the 22nd of March, we were going to discuss enterprise agreement versus CSP versus MPSA, but I think that one we can easily cancel because there's much less interest to it. And instead,
let's use the 22nd because
let's use the 22nd.
Let's use this 22nd because there's some ideas that I want to share with everybody. So I think that's a good idea, Alex.
Yeah, good.
Okay, good.
Those who joined, thank you very much for being with us today. So we have surprisingly higher numbers than usual on various platforms. We broadcast to various platforms, and apologies for the technical problems we had in the beginning. We'll sort them out. And please come again. And please check our next live events on our YouTube channel. If you type in your browser SAMexpert.tv, it always takes you to our YouTube channel. This is how you know when the next live will be. And this is how you know. We have a few questions, Daryl. I was going to close. So we have questions from Carla. I again apologize. I can't put it on screen for some reason. The chat plugin is not working. Regarding Teams Premium for live translation, I've read on the Microsoft site that the meeting organizer needs to have Teams Premium for all meeting attendees to enjoy live translation. But for other hand, in another site, it is written that Teams Premium is per user, per month license, where any user benefiting from Teams Premium functionality needs to have a Team Premium license. I think it's the same. What you're quoting seems the same.
It's the same.
If you want to have live captions on your screen, then yes, you need to have Teams Premium
for all users.
However, Carla, we are still learning. We're still learning about all those new updates. That's a good question. I need to research it. Okay, I'll disclose a little secret. We are working right now on a video that it won't be a live training. I don't think it deserves a live training. We're working on a video training, or just a video for YouTube, that will cover Teams licensing. And the reason why it's delayed, because I started working on it in I think November, is because of Teams Premium, because we want to release an up-to-date video with all those details. So we can't tell for sure right now. I would trust Microsoft's website in your case, because you're comparing Microsoft and you're comparing some third-party source. I would go with Microsoft. Sometimes they're incorrect. But please come back to our channel, and if you follow us on LinkedIn, we'll probably write about it as well in our blog as well. We'll sort this problem out. That's a good question. So as far as that's for the audience, how I understand the question is, for live captions, does only the organizer need so is the premium license only required for the organizer or for everybody? The reason why I give it the benefit of the doubt that maybe it's only the organizer is because with the dial-in options, only the organizer needs to have a plan that allows creating meetings with dial-in options. So not everybody is required to have it, only those who organize the meeting. I think that for live captions, it's the consumer of the captions that needs to have a license, but let's clarify this. That is a good question. Also, we have another one from Soren. Not sure if it was mentioned. MTR Premium has been changed to MTR Pro, so whatever was reserved under Premium is no longer valid, and Microsoft will question the Premium quantity. I'm not sure what, Daryl, do you know what MTR stands for? Soren, please.
No.
If you could,
I'm not sure what the acronym is, so I apologize.
MTR. What is MTR?
Maybe Soren can just help us out. We've got a glitch.
Yeah, we'll stay online for a couple more minutes just to make up for the 5 minutes that we lost in the beginning. But again, MTR Premium has been changed to MTR Pro, so whatever was reserved under Premium is no longer valid. The maximum question the Premium quantity.
Oh, it's Teams Room. Microsoft Teams Room. That's what he's referring to.
Okay. Fine. What was reserved under Premium is no longer valid. No, we didn't mention it. That's an interesting question to which I have no immediate answer again. But as these things are changing, let's, you know what, let's do this. Let's do the following. So we'll answer this in the next live event, in the next licensing live event, which will be roughly in a month from now. We'll take this as two questions for research, and we'll come back on them. Thanks everybody. Thanks for your questions, and thank you for finally asking the questions. This is a Q&A. If you come to it, please come with your questions. We'll see you in 2 weeks on the 22nd of March, where instead of EA versus CSP, we'll rather discuss what's happening with the price lists. That, by the way, covers everything, supply included. And what you can do about it. And it's mostly what we're going to be talking about will apply to any price increase, not necessarily the current price increase. So yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Daryl.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.